Hi, I'm Tlish and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe, and click on the link tree found in the description of this video for links to my media content. Enjoy, and don't forget, wake up and smell the clicks. Hi, I'm Tlish and you're watching Coffee and Clicks. Today we welcome Emily Roet and Brad Broyles. Emily is from Team JSAClix and Brad Broyles is from the Uncanny Clixmen. And they're both prize winners from the what happened this past weekend, which was the really successful, super successful HeroClix for Huntington's Scott Porter Invitational charity event. So welcome Emily, welcome Brad. How you guys doing?
Hi. Good, thanks.
I'm still tired from this past weekend.
So I mean, and it was. I have to say, I just take a moment to say that this the event was amazing. Kudos to Scott Porter and to The Rock and Howard Brock for helping to organize this, because they raised over $30,000 for Huntington's disease, which is just awesome, right? So
it's amazing.
And I just wanted to jump right in and just ask you guys some questions about your histories as HeroClix players, just to start. What is your? Could you talk a little bit about your history playing HeroClix and how you got started in the game? Maybe starting with Emily.
Sure. So I started in about 2015, so about 6 years ago. And the way I got started was my ex and his brother had a friend who played HeroClix, and the brother wanted to get his wife to play. So they said, "Hey, Emily, come join. Maybe if she sees another girl playing, she'll join in too." So we played at home for quite a while, and later learned that we were doing many of the rules very, very, very wrong. But my ex, he purchased quite a sizable amount of clicks off of Jason Collins from Married with Clicks. And because it was such a big amount, Jason actually brought it to us. So I got to meet Jason. And when I had told him that, we had never played played anywhere but at home, he suggested I try out a shop. So that was how I learned about actually playing in stores, and none of the other group of people at home wanted to play at all anywhere but home. And they kind of stopped wanting to play with me once I started playing at the store, because they didn't want to learn the actual rules, but that's okay. Yeah, so that was how I got introduced to it. And then from having gone to the store, about 6 months after that, it was Canadian Nationals. I'd only been playing actually 6 months. I went to Canadian Nats, and I actually made the cut with a qualifier to make it to the second day. And then that just kind of launched me into being excited about competitive play. So that's my start.
That's awesome. So how long ago have you been playing for? Since what?
About 6 years. About 6 years. The beginning of 2015 when I started. I noticed that my win date on the win is February 2015. So that must have been the first time I actually went to a shop.
Okay, so that was Superior Foes, or was it maybe what set was that?
It was around Slosh and Flash, kind of the end of War of Lights.
That would have been Trinity War. Would begin.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Those were the sets we were playing with. So I don't know what the actual set was, because yeah.
Okay. And Brad, what about you? Well, how did you get started playing?
Well, I got started playing by Magic. I was playing Magic in like 2010 with a friend of mine who got me into the game. And we would play Magic outside of work on concrete on the ground. We were playing Magic cards on the ground without sleeves. We were playing with $100 cards. We didn't know the value. Uh, and then a comic shop opened up. And we wanted to go play there. My buddy got into Clix because he was like, "This is really cool." And I said, "No, that's stupid." And then my entire Magic community, which we also played on our Friday night Magic group, played at a Dennings. We don't have a comic shop to play in. So we played at Dennings. And so when that shop opened up, we started playing over there. And my Magic group played HeroClix and nobody wanted to play Magic anymore. And so after my last buddy of that group didn't want to play Magic anymore, I was like, fine, I'll play HeroClix. And it was a tournament I had never played before. I opened up a booster and pulled a team. It was the Amazing Spider-Man set, and I played with the Blade and Dracula as a 300-point team. And I went 1 and 2, I think, 1 and 3. But I had so much fun. I realized all the strategy. I thought it was just like a simple game of like checkers, but it's really like chess. I realized all the strategy that could be involved with moving the pieces around, and then I found out about all the powers that you could do and the interactions and the long history of HeroClix. Uh, so yeah, for me, it's just I like playing any kind of competitive game, but I really like playing with other people. So as long as I have a community, and as far as I can tell, HeroClix is going to be here for a while, and that's. I've taken breaks from Magic and I've taken breaks from HeroClix, but it seems to me that the majority of people continue to play HeroClix. So I keep leaving and keep coming back, and HeroClix is still there.
And so how long have you been playing, Brad? Since
Since 2012, I
okay.
believe. The shop opened up in 2012. So yeah, the very first set I played with, Amazing Spider-Man had just come out, and I think Incredible Hulk was the previous set that was released.
Okay, okay. I have a funny story about Magic, by the way. I used to play Magic when it first came out, and my friend got me a birthday gift, and it was $100 ancestral recall, right? And
Wow.
I put it. I was like, this is like my best card, so I put it in a hard plastic, and I hid it in a sock, and I hid it somewhere in my room, and I never saw it again.
uh, when it came to Magic, even when I was playing outside of the shop, I still didn't play with what we call planeswalkers. They were too complicated for me. And so I had like about a dozen. And so I didn't understand what they did. Neither did my friend that I played with. And so we just put them in a box in a drawer and just collected dust for like 4 years before I was like, hey, wait a second. Didn't I have a whole bunch of planeswalkers? And it was like I had a few $100 just sitting in my drawer somewhere.
Yeah. Emily and Brad, I mean, you guys can both answer this. What are your greatest accomplishments in the game that you've in HeroClix that you guys have made so far? Or you could even talk about like your favorite builds that you've had. Like, I'm sure other than your Scott Porter builds, because you both won. Yeah, I know Emily, you won the Fellowship Prize for your most creative team in the Scott Porter Invitational Silver Age. And Brad, you've been having a lot of success with your X-Men theme team that you came in as a runner-up in the Modern tournament on Sunday in the Scott Porter Invitational. But I mean, other than that, what other builds are you really proud of that you've played, or any really big accomplishments in the competitive scene that you've had? You want to talk about that? Emily, you could go first.
Sure. So I've won a couple of WKOs here, and actually the funny thing about my WKO wins is that they both happen to be the summer ones, which qualifies you for like the following year. And the way that WKOs lined up is we played our summer one before Canadian Nats even happened. So I was qualified for two Nats that were like a year away when we hadn't even played the most current year. So that was kind of fun. I also had an online rock qualifier win where I was the one who kind of brought Vulture to light.
I heard
That
about
was
that. I remember you
yeah,
were very successful with the Vulture team.
yeah, that was fun. Yeah, and I know that a bunch of the people that were playing in that tournament stuck around and watched that final match to see how it would go off. And yeah, when my opponent made his first move of sidestepping somebody up, like the all the people watching were almost they told me later that they were groaning, saying, "No, don't move him out." And I literally turned to swipe the team, and it was a Hawkeye team, so it was somebody who could have done similar to me if he had got off first. But it
Yeah.
was that was a fun experience. But I'm the type of player that I find something I like and I play it forever until it retires and just tweak it as I go. And for me, it was the build before Vulture, which is another totally Alpha Strike team, which is definitely my style. It was a Sam Cap Shredder clone with a bunch of ID cards I played it with. I actually wrote down my stuff so I'd know what was on the team. I had Ironheart, Dust, Kite Man, and a Groot with the tank. So it was really fun, bringing somebody across with Sam, and then the call-in could either just attack somebody to do a lot of damage or even tank them.
So
And
what was
then
the reason
Shredder
for
clone
Dust? What was the reason for Dust on that team? So you had
just
Ironheart was
extra ping damage and the free smoke to keep Shredder clone in stealth because he had stealth top dial. So I had a lot of extra like little ping damage where if they couldn't move away from my smoke and didn't have reducers, it was going to do them more damage at the end of their turn. So it was a fun little team and I loved it and I played it forever, and that was actually one of my WKO wins was with that team. So
And what was on your Vulture team? I forget. I think you had like Harley Quinn, Colin, or
oh my gosh,
what
like
was on?
it that one it changed so often.
Do you have
I
Unseen
had
or
Mr. Oz. I know I had Mr. Oz. I did have Unseen, and I had many games where the game went to the end and I had only Unseen left and I was out of ID cards, but I still always made my opponent play it out, hoping that I would roll a crit miss with Unseen, trying to get a trouble. And I just like playing the game, so it's like, no, I'm not conceding. You gotta kill me.
Yeah, that's no, those are. I mean, that's a great style of play too. I like being aggressive when I play HeroClix, like Vulture, Sam Cap. Those are like Alpha Strike for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be in there fighting. I'm not one to hold back or, I definitely I want to be in there. I want to be rolling dice. I want to be engaging with your figures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good strategy. And Brad, you also have. I mean, your X-Men team is also very similar. It's kind of like an Alpha Striking team, right? Or
Yeah, absolutely. It has a full map reach. It has a lot of chaining on it. It has 14 square movement. So there's no perplex on the team. There's no equipment on the team. So everything that you see is just there. 14 movement, can carry 4 characters. She drops off the maggots on square 15, and they sidestep up to square 17 that drop off the maggot bystanders in square 18 that have a charge of 4 that can go up to square 22, then attack at square 23. So it has a 23 square reach on turn 1. But ideally, that's only for horrible matchups. It's a double Lord Doom team or a lot of barrier, and I just need to get in there and just make something happen. Otherwise, nothing happens. My team is built to give up points, but I just have a lot of endurance and attackers, and that my goal is to just outscore you. And honestly, most of my opponents don't like doing that. They don't want to have to make that many attacks. They don't want to. They don't. They seem to be almost like there's a trick somewhere, and there kind of is a trick. There's two Dark Phoenixes just waiting to retaliate. So it's not fun to go on attack and then get retaliated by Dark Phoenix. And that's kind of what the team does is I'm daring you to hit me. I have super senses, I'm impervious, I have okay stats with an 18 defense. Even if you do hit me, you probably won't KO my characters because I have Quick-Calling Revival, Chase, Apocalypse. It reminds me of Tyler Spees, his Wales team. I don't know if you guys were familiar with that, but it had Shredder on there, and it had a whole bunch of retail pieces. Basically, he would move up Shredder, and you can try to hurt and do stuff to Shredder, but then there's just retail pieces just waiting in the back of the board.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about your other like builds that you've had from previous years, but actually now that we're on the topic of this, your team, that team, so what is actually on that? That was the team that you played for the Scott Porter Invitational, right? That's
yeah.
And what were the figures on that team? So you have Lila Cheney, and then you have two maggots, right?
Yeah, two maggots, two Dark Phoenixes, Chase Apocalypse, rare House of X Magneto on low dial, 25 points, who has leadership, and Bishop Prime. Yeah, so it's every piece on there has a use, and there's a point to it. Colossal Retaliation is what that does, but she has 10 range with sidestep the Dark Phoenixes. And then I can make bystanders with the maggots, and then Chase A himself, who has running shot of 5 with range of 7 with a running shot side blast. And then there's Bishop, who has a running shot of 4 with 6 range. And he also gets buffed to his attack, +2 to attack and +1 to damage if someone shares a keyword or can use probability control. And I use that a lot. They came up a lot where I would just attack pieces like the rookie commissioner. I played against 3 or 4 commissioners, and I killed almost every rookie bystander with him, even though they had pervious, just because it was just a good matchup, 13 to a 19. And I just took a chance. And that's also part of my success. Is I don't want to take anything away from my wins, but I rolled out a lot. I got a lot of super senses rolls and a lot of impervious rolls, and my opponents did not. I played against 2 onslaught teams, and they didn't get their ship changes. I played against a double null team on Saturday. I played in a tournament on Saturday as well in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I played 9 rounds. I got to the finals on that one as well with the X-Men team. So
did you find yourself like because I know you were explaining to me with your team that it's kind of an Alpha Strike team. Similar to Emily's teams, you just like move across and you kind of you're super hyper aggressive with your team. I mean, Lila Cheney, she can carry so many squares. Do you find yourself doing that a lot in the games where you're alpha striking across the map?
Almost every time. And the thing is, once I get both maggots across the board, they try to go after Lila Cheney because she's an easy kill, and a lot of people will expect me to just use Quick-Calling Revival just because they want me to have her on the board. But once she's got those 2 guys over there, she doesn't need to come back, and so they're a little disappointed. I guess you could say it's like, oh, I thought she would come back, and like, no, there's no need, and they would go after Bishop also, and like, no, he's done his job. I'm in there. The one time I would bring back characters is with maggots. If the maggots haven't done the work that they're supposed to yet, I will just keep bringing them back. But after like the the second or third time they would kill them, I would just stop bringing them back and say, okay, it's just not working. But
Well, you don't want to give away your secrets. I mean,
oh, I don't mind. I posted my build a few days before the tournaments. Uh, I want people to know what I'm playing. Uh, the reason why was Krakoan Revival. It doesn't get a lot of play, and the bystanders, they're not people. People aren't very familiar with the bystanders. And so I wanted people to know what I was playing. So like, okay, what do the bystanders do? Because once the game starts, I can win almost every matchup, even bad matchups. But what hurts me the most is that they don't know what the Krakoan Revival bystanders do. And so they eat up time looking at the dials and then trying to figure out which piece is the best piece to use at that point in time. And there's a lot of good options. Flurry Blades, Barrier, Charge Reflex, Energy Explosion, Side Blast. So there's not a bad pick among them. You just which one benefits you at this point in time.
yeah. No, that team sounds killer, and you also you came as you were runner up in the Scott Porter Invitational, but you also won another tournament with this. No, came as a runner up in a different tournament as well. What was it?
It was a back-to-back bridesmaid run, is what some people are calling it. Where I got second place on Saturday in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Dice Addiction. That was an in-person tournament where I drove 5 hours to, slept only 4 hours, played 12 hours, then drove back home 5 hours and slept for 4 hours. And when I went to bed, I told myself that if I didn't wake up for the Scott Porter Invitational tournament, then I was too tired to play. But I woke up at 9:45, 15 minutes before the tournament started, and I decided I would play.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And also Emily. So your your Scott Porter, you participated in the Silver Age, which I did also. I was in that tournament, and it was the Silver Age Scott Porter Invitational Family is Everything tournament. So the rules of building a team in that tournament were it was Silver Age. There was a ban list that Howard Brock curated, and that it was the rule was that you had to have two members on your force, that two characters from your force had to be related in some way. And I know there was a lot of talk about which ones are related and which ones aren't related. But you won the Fellowship Award for Most Creative Team. So can you tell me a little bit about that team and what was the thinking behind it, and how'd you do, and what was your experience like in the tournament?
Yeah, so I'm actually still in shock that I won Fellowship for something that is comic related like this, because for those of you that don't know, I have never read a comic in my life. My whole comic knowledge comes from, watching movies and what my friends say. So for me, it was looking through the list of figures on ClixNexus and just looking through and saying, okay, maybe I'd like to try this piece. So my goal was wanting to play with stuff that I hadn't played with before, stuff that I thought was going to be fun. I had no intentions of going in there, making it meta, winning. I just wanted fun. So when I came across the Chase Thor with the lightning marker, I had never played him before. And I know that he has relation to Loki. I found out that they are adopted brothers. And I chose to play that the God of Trickery Loki, that you can, for 10 points extra, add 2 more onto the force. And if they get shape changed, then more come out. So that seemed really fun to me. And I wanted to play that. And my ultimate goal was to get as many Lokis on the board as possible, which unfortunately didn't happen. I think I only ever got 1 extra at most in any game. But I put Odin from the movie set on there because I figured if I only have 1 big main attacker in Thor, that Odin gives any Asgardians +1 to their attack, so that would help him actually hit better if I can have him hit. But because I don't read comics, I didn't really know what to fill in the rest of those points with. So Jay Solomon actually helped me fill in the rest of Jane and Eitri, and that was pretty much it. Eitri, I put Mjolnir, the Soul Gem, and the Power Gem. People either took away the Mjolnir or the Power Gem, and I always just chose Soul. I wanted him to stay alive as much as possible, and I figure numbers are going to do that, and potential healing from Steel Energy. So, and then I had 10 points left, so I put the Spin Ring that the beginning of every game, Eitri brought it over to Jane, who equipped it so she could TK out Thor on a turn and get him in there. And I put the Remaker ring on Odin because I wanted to keep him alive to have that +1 attack on people. So that was the team, and my turn 1 was always that equipping, and then turn 2 was phasing the Lokis out, and everybody found which Loki it was either on the first try or the second try, and the Lokis just disappeared, and it spoiled that fun of wanting a million Lokis on the board. But I still had a really, really, really good time. I ended up going 2 and 3 and not making the cut, and I played on the modern event as well, and also went 2 and 3 and didn't make the cut. But I would say that my very, very most favorite thing that happened was in game 2. My opponent, as we were setting up and talking, he made a comment to me saying that he wouldn't have even been playing online or playing in this tournament if it wasn't for reading my my blog post tutorial on how to play on Roll20, and that I'm the reason that he's actually felt comfortable to play online. So that just made me happy and just made the whole day worth it. Just, when you get that positive feedback from people, it just makes it absolutely worth it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so great. I mean, and I wanted to talk to you guys about that as well. You guys both have personal projects that you guys work on. Emily, you want to talk a little bit about your blog? It's called With Emily.
Yeah, so it's because the web address can't start with ... but it's ... with Emily, but the site itself is withemily.ca. And it's pretty much like an online public journal that I do, and I try and post at least once a week. And it's because it's like ... with Emily, it can be whatever I want it to be. So I talk a whole lot about mental health because I suffer from depression and anxiety. And I talk a whole lot about self-care stuff. I talk about travel. I do tournament reports when I play HeroClix. I talk about my side business. I do tutorials for my side business too, and link my YouTube videos that I do for that. And so it's just kind of all encompasses anything that I wish to talk about and put out there. And if you go to withemily.ca and you subscribe it in the that pop-up that comes up, then you'll get an email when I put up a new blog post, and that's all it does. I don't spam you with anything. I don't. It's just to know when I put new content out, and I love writing, and I just love having it out there.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool. And then also, Brad, you have a Discord and a show, the Bradcast show, and a Discord that you create a lot of assets for HeroClix. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I made the broadcast show originally to do like small videos, but it's been on hiatus because I didn't realize how difficult and how hard it was to make videos. It's actually pretty difficult. I made a tutorial video on how to play on Roll20. That was the one I was most passionate about when it came to making videos, just because it's such a great tool to be able to play online. And I just want people to be able to at least try it. And on my Discord, I have my how-to video, but I also have Emily's blog tutorial linked with it, just because that's a different way to help absorb information. If a video doesn't work for you, then maybe her blog will as well. Because not everybody learns the same way. And I also have done multiple workshop lessons where because some people they just can't learn by reading, they can't learn by watching, they can only learn by doing. And so I've taken out several hours of my time just to hold people's hand, I guess you could say, to where they can. It's just it's hard to be able to do it sometimes. You think with all the people, all the geeks and nerds that play this game, that playing on the computer would just be second hand, but it really took me a long time to get to the point where I am now, where I'm so comfortable with it, and to help get other people to at least feel okay about getting in there. One thing when it comes to playing online that nobody wants to be a burden on someone else when it comes to learning how to do it because they feel like it's too much trouble, but it's really not. And I want to be able to help people, and so that's also what my Discord is for. It's not just on how to play Roll20, but also has thousands of images of assets for people to download. I've made everything for the past 10 years into Roll20 tokens, all the way up to the Superman set from like 2010. So any object that was made, any character that was made, I made a token for it just so you can play with it. Because originally I made it for myself because I hated looking at the stock images with the white square background because it would take up the map of the squares and this game playing online can take long enough as it is, just being able to figure out who is what does what, where everything goes, and all the other shenanigans involved. That just being able to look at an image and just knowing if it's on hindering terrain or elevated terrain or clear terrain or water terrain or some other kind of marker. It just you just look at it and you know what's there. And so that's why I did that. And I shared it with a couple of friends, and then I saw that a couple of other people were also sharing their tokens, but they were only doing meta stuff because it takes a long time to be able to set up the image and make it look good, and then be able to do whole sets of it is it's very tedious. It's not fun, but it's important to me that everything got made. One, to satisfy my I'm blanking on the word right now, but because at any point in time, I build very different builds, or at least I try to. And sometimes I just want to be able to play with a certain figure. And if it wasn't made, then that's just time I would have to take away to make that figure. So I just decided to just go by set, even if it was a figure that you never would play. Like what's that? What's the worst chase that you could have pulled? The Black Panther Illuminati set, Star or something.
Starbrand. Yeah,
Starbrand.
I know
Even
because I
if
pulled
you
them. Yeah.
never want, yeah, you know what I was talking about. Starbrand. You know, 99% of the time you'll never want to play him, but that one time you do, he'll be there for you. Just because not every game you play has to be 300 modern. It could be other stuff as well, and that's the reason why I went all the way back to Superman. Is because not everybody plays 300 modern. They want to be able to play the older stuff, and so that's all there for you at your leisure.
So yeah, so definitely check out Brad's Discord because I know like I know there are other people that have like I know Brian Dormeyer
Yeah,
has assets as well. And
yeah,
his
he
are
makes
great.
great images as
He
well.
makes great images, but
Also maps.
Brad has all the Silver Age stuff. So now that Silver Age is a thing, Brad has everything going back really far back. So if you're looking for certain assets for Roll20, and I wanted to ask you guys, that makes that makes me think of something. You know, last episode of Coffee and Clicks, it was me and Aries and Joe Pangrazio and Brian Galley from WizKids, and we were talking about the comprehensive rules changes. But then we got into talking about Roll20 also, and we were saying that you know, what do you think of playing online compared to like real life play? And they all hated it. Like they all hated online play. And I know a lot of people that do. I know a lot of people that do not like playing Roll20 HeroClix, right? But then I also know some people like Tyler Spees. He prefers playing online to actual in-person play. Like what do you guys
I
think?
also prefer playing online over in person.
You do?
Yeah,
So,
for
so
sure.
why do you say that?
Well, for one, I don't have to click anything. That I found out playing in person on Saturday, that takes up a little bit of time. Being able to click dials, be able to grab it and figure it out, just grab it and click it. And if Emily were to just deal me 5 damage, I just boom hit 5 and that's it. Uh, and and it was, the information is just there, 5 damage or quick. I go to quick 6.
Emily, what do you like to play, online or in person? Or I mean, they're two totally different things.
Yeah, like I love them both for different reasons. Like I love the in person for me, it's seeing everybody and giving everybody hugs. Any of you that have ever met me will know you're going to get a hug from me. And and you know, it's the hanging around and being with people. I do like in person for figures that I don't really know or recognize, so that I can see what their stats are on the dial versus having to click back and forth between different tabs. But for a typical meta game or just for practice, I love Roll20 because I don't have to get out figures, or you can practice with anything. You don't have to own it. And as I said, for a competitive game where you're recognizing what you're facing, there's not as much back and forth between the tabs because you know what those figures do.
In a real life game, you're saying there's not as much. Oh no, in a competitive game online.
In a competitive game online, there's such a small pool of figures that usually get played in competitive that you pretty much recognize them. You know what their top dial is, and you don't really have to flip onto Clix Nexus or HG Realms or whatever you're using to see what their stats are until you kind of click them partway into their dial, right?
Yeah. Although I will take a moment just to briefly plug my my Roll20 rooms also. If you ever want to. And also, I got a lot of these. I got a lot of help from a fellow named Jay Patel who does the clickable dials. He did all the clickable dials for the Scott Porter Invitational. And I also got help from my friend Alex Benavides. But I mean, what I've been doing with my Roll20 rooms in my Discord, Coffee and Clicks Discord, is they all have images that where if you shift double click on the image, it'll bring up the Roll20. It'll bring up the HC Realm stats automatically. So like in the middle of a game. And I know this was also something that was part of the Scott Porter Invitational too. So if you certain I know if you were playing the battle royales, did you guys play any battle royales? Or
no
time for it.
Yeah, I was playing until the final, so I didn't get to play.
So I know that they had the Wonder Woman figures in the Scott Porter Invitational, and those from the Wonder Woman 80 set. And if you shift double click on those figures, you can see their stats. So you don't have to reference HC Realms on a different window or anything like that. You can just click on the figure and see the stats. I find myself doing that all the time because I have my own personal Discord with my buddies. We play HeroClix on Wednesday nights, and we have all of the same assets that I have in my Coffee and Clicks rooms because I basically just copied them over. And if you shift, almost every time I play, before I make an attack, I'll just lean on that crutch and just like look at the figure, look at the stats, because it's so easy to just pull it up because you just click on it.
The way that I go about looking at dials is this is good practice for playing the tournaments in person or online. Is I'm looking at dials when it's not my turn.
Yes.
I'm trying to absorb as much. I don't even look at what my opponent is doing. Uh, I can hear them, and if something feels off, I'll switch back over to the tab. But I don't need to see what they're doing. I just need to look at the dials and just get ready to change them to that click number on my piece or their piece. And once it gets back to my turn, then I'll switch back over to the tab. Or if I have to do something that dealt damage to me, then I'll switch back over.
That's a great point. Like I would suggest to everybody that that finds Roll20 to be a little bit difficult. I would suggest to them that they do that they look at the dials during your opponent's turn. But I mean, it's totally different from real life, because when you're playing in person, you're not looking at their cards during their turn. You know what I mean?
Like, I am. I look at my opponent's cards. Yeah, and in my in-person tournaments,
but not every turn, right? Or
every turn. I have my cards and their cards in the middle of the table. So unless they specifically need their card back, I want to be able to just look at their cards because you can play so much faster. You can get more turns in if you just know what's supposed to happen. And that's one of the reasons why I had so much success this past weekend, in person and online, is because I did that. I looked at their cards, and while they were doing their turn, I was planning out my turn. And my turns lasted on average about a minute and a half, just because I knew what I wanted to do, and all the information was already there on the dial. So I didn't have to go back over and look on the tabs, which takes a little bit more time. So if you can, whatever you can do on your opponent's turn to help speed up the game, look at your power and abilities card, look at the dials, look at the cards, read their cards, and you can get more turns on. I feel like you will have a better chance at winning, because the more turns you get to do what you want to do, I think you'll have a lot of success.
Oh, also, Brad, you have I don't know if you wanted to take a second to promote your Cash Bash tournaments. You have those.
Yes, I'm so bad at promoting myself.
Emily, have you ever played in one of those tournaments, or
not yet? Not yet.
Yeah, I've asked her.
I will. One of these days, I will.
I would very much enjoy Emily's presence. She's a great player, and I think she would win a lot of them. And just because she plays different teams. I know you say you like to play the same team, but I've also seen you run multiple teams, especially when it comes to like the one-map teams. You just try something different. That's what my tournaments are for. They're $10 entry fee, and if you win, you get $50. I also have a fellowship prize where everybody votes on who they like best when it came to they like their attitude, they like their sportsmanship, they like their team, or they just felt bad for them for rolling a bunch of misses or crit misses, or just having a bad matchup against them, or whatever you felt like you needed to vote for them for fellowship. Go ahead and give them that vote. And also to get fellowship, you have to stay for the entire 3 rounds. One thing I found running these tournaments, people feel bad, just want to quit after they get, what's the word, raffle stomped, as some kids say. I don't know if kids say that anymore, but they just get rolled. Their team just does not perform, and the other team is just head and shoulders better than their team. But yeah, the fellowship vote is to help encourage people to play, because we need people to play, or otherwise there's some people will get a buy, and nobody wants a buy. Even if it's a free win or free points, you can't let it play. And sometimes I do play the person that has the buy just so they have something to do to see how the team works. But my attention is divided. I have to stop what I'm doing while I'm judging the tournament and play their game, and vice versa. I have to stop playing the game and go answer a judge question. But yeah, my tournaments are on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's with up to 8 people. But I need at least 6 people to play the tournament. Otherwise, we just have to wait until the next day or the next week. I don't have the money to front people. So it's very much dependent on participation. I don't have the money like Majestics or Rock, where it can just support the minimum of like 2 to 4 people to participate. I need almost full participation, or else it can't happen. If you've done the math on the pricing, where it's 50 and 10, there's $20 left over. The remainder of that money goes towards a tournament at the end of the quarter. And all the money that I gather from those tournaments, they go into a prize pool at the end of the quarter, and you play for that money. It kind of works like Rock Cup or Majestic's Invitationals, where you pull a bunch of money together and play for a big prize at the end. But mine are supposed to be every quarter. They've been kind of slow recently. I don't know if it was the new rules, if it's just people are burnt out on competitive play, but I've been trying to reach out to people, and I I I need new players. I need more players. It can't just be the same 10 to 20 people. And that's what I think I'm trying to learn what Rock is doing. And I don't know if I can pull out the same success as they have, where people are just willing to try. Uh, there's this X factor where people that have never played online before just decided that they would play online on Saturday just because it was a family theme team, or because it was Scott Porter, or because it was just the perfect weekend for them to play. There's really no right answer as to why some people will play and finally decide to play. But I just have to keep trying because I would like to be able to have as much success as Patrick Capocco with Majestics, or Howard Brock with Rock. I think there's enough space for all 3 of us to succeed.
So everybody go check out Brad's Discord. It's called the Bradcast Show. Is your Discord, right? And also check out my Discord, Coffee and Clicks. And also I know Brad advertises his Cash Bash tournaments in my Discord. So
yes, thank you.
Yeah, I wanted that makes me think of something else. Because you were mentioning, what motivates people to go out and play tournaments, and that they're all different formats. What is your favorite format to play? I know you guys are competitive players. And me to some extent too. I like playing competitive. 300 Modern is always fun. But what is that the only format that you play, or do you play HeroClix at home, or what do you think? Emily, what do you think?
So for me, it's 300 Modern is what I like. But when shops were open and we had our weekly event night, there would always be something to build for that wasn't 300 Modern, and I would use those as I would literally take pieces from the newest set that I hadn't seen before, I hadn't touched before, and I build something out of it so that I can become familiar with those pieces, so if I see them across from me, I know what they do. So for me, casual is learning about figures for competitive. Okay. And right, but also because of the group I play with, so I play with Tom and Jay and Devin, and I have the Mike and Jason, and like it's highly competitive people.
Yeah.
So, but what we do is we all literally any event, even if it's a casual, just weekly Thursday night thing, we all would build for the event. So if somebody showed up, that we'd have a team to face them with for what the event is supposed to be for. But we also always packed our current meta team. And when you face the person in front of you, if it's another competitive player, we don't even pull out the casual team and we just practice our competitive. So that's what that's what HeroClix is in Toronto, is we kind of bring both teams, and depending who we're facing is what we pull out.
Nice.
I like that idea. I don't know if my shop would go for that, where I can have 2 different teams where they could go. But at my shop, they also do that. Half the players there, they will not touch 300 modern. They absolutely refuse. It's not fun for them, where a team could just get wiped out in one turn. They don't like that high level of stress of trying to figure out what pieces will do what, and trying to build or counter build, and they don't. It's just not fun for them, and they build. They do build fun builds for you to try out, and that's another reason why I like Roll20, is that I can play my 300 modern team and not take it out on my local players. It's not fun for them. It's not fun for me because they're not having fun. And so, yeah, I don't play 300 modern with my local group because nobody enjoys that. But I will say I do have a tough group of people I play with. So they like to play theme team stuff. They like to play comic book accurate teams. And they can still be competitive, just like Emily said. I will build, like, if you thought my team was unique this past weekend, I built some of the jankiest, weirdest pieces on my team. Probably not going to win, but I just want to be able to do that one trick. There was this old collector from one of the old Guardians of the Galaxy movie sets, where you collect little treasure tokens or something. And if you collect half of them or you collect 4 of them, you win the game. And you have to space them all out across the map, kind of like Anarchy's bombs, where they can't be within like 5 or 6 squares of each other. But I would play old Owatu, where you can place them anywhere on the map. And then I would just place Owatu to be able to grab that token and go back to my starting area. One of my favorite pieces is Gizmo from the Teen Titan set. I used to play for army teams. I would play Gizmo, who's like 70 something points, and then 250 points worth of Astral Strangers. Like these 13-point little characters, and I would play like 20 of them, and give them all poison. Back in the day when you could free action move poison. Yeah, I like building janky teams when it comes to non-300 modern teams. So, but favorite format is Highlander Popper.
Highlander Popper. Okay. Well, that was my almost my my charity tournament in January that I had.
Yeah.
It was the HeroClix Classic. It was the first one. I'm actually thinking of doing another one.
You should, because I'll be able to participate in that one.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be both of you. It's gonna be in January. Because that was the last one was in January. So hopefully next January I'll have another one. The format of the one that I had organized was CUR Pauper Highlander. So so Pauper Highlander, but with rares. And I realized very quickly that Dark Phoenix is broken in that format.
Yeah, that's why I said common.
But
a popper for me is just commons. No WWE stuff. No, just it has to have a white tab.
Well, I think the CUR Pauper is gonna work. It's just that I have to make like a band list for it, or either make it no 2x2s. So one of those things I'll do. But for the next tournament,
Galactus is Pauper legal.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I didn't allow Galactus
Okay.
in the tournament. Yeah, I didn't allow no Galactus. Yeah.
I wanted to throw some love out for Sealed too. I also absolutely love
Oh
Sealed.
yeah. Like
We can't forget that, and I love that since the pandemic started, and being home so much, my son has actually turned to me and said, "Hey, mom, teach me some clicks," and so I bought a case every set since we've been home, and we've been playing Sealed with the case, which is really awesome. So
that is really awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. That's also I love playing sealed. When I every time when I take my breaks from HeroClix, which are up to a year or 2 years, I would still play HeroClix, but I would just play sealed. I don't have to collect anything. I'll just buy my boosters and then just give them away to sell them. Like I just want to play and see my friends.
Yeah, Seal. Love playing Sealed as well. I think it's fun to just build from whatever you pull, and it's just a feeling of pulling figures is really good.
Speaking of special formats, it's actually what inspired my team this past weekend. Clixmen had a tournament called Make It Meta a couple months
Yes,
ago.
yes.
I won that tournament, and the you have to play with a specific figure each round. And the last two rounds of the tournament inspired my team, which was Lila Cheney and Maggot. I saw she was still modern legal, and I was like, why aren't people playing her? And yeah, I was like, she's got to be on my team. I got to do something with her.
So
X-Men.
really, your X-Men team is almost like a three-time winner, because you came in runner-ups in these
Uh,
past two tournaments, and then also we won the Clixnet tournament with something similar, right?
yeah, absolutely. It was a good run. Uh, the Maggots are just too good to pass up. They need more play. They're a little squishy. If my turn doesn't go the way I need it to, the Maggots just die.
Well, shout out to Joe Pangrazio for designing Maggot, with
Yeah,
and also
Devin Owens and Richard
De-
Leo.
Devin Owens and Richard Leo. Yeah, so it was a team effort, right? Because that was from
Yeah, Team Nationals or Team Worlds, one of
Team
those
Worlds.
two.
I think it was Team Worlds. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
also I wanted to say something about Maggot too because I've been playing an animal theme team with Maggot, and
That's my next team, I think.
yeah, it's a good team. It's a good team.
Yeah.
Another one of my friends, David Dave Major.
Yep.
He's been working on that team with me. Actually, I think he came in eighth in in some tournament recently.
I think he made top 16 in this past weekend.
Yeah, I think it was this weekend. Yeah, with an animal theme team. So that team is really good. It's Wendigos and um and
I'm guessing
Spider Hammerai, who you
Chip, I
can
assume.
who can copy the Green Lantern Chip with Chip, and Spider Hammerai can copy the Chip the Green Lantern team ability and carry everybody up, or Chip can carry everybody up, and he's got two maggots, and then he's got High Evolutionary, that gives the +2 perplex and leadership, and then he's got Ultra Humanites, which he just sends them out to do their thing,
Mhm.
and then it's just a really good team. And also don't forget with that team, because High Evolutionary gives you 6 theme props instead of 3
Yeah,
with the new
huge.
rules, which is huge.
That's actually part of my success was the theme team props. Uh, I played Matt Donham in top 4, I believe it was. And no, it was top 8. And he sent out Carnage with his giant reach of 3. I forgot that he had giant reach of 3, and caught me off guard. And I had to burn all my theme team props and prop to not get KO'd by him to hurt my team. Speaking of Dave Mazur, I played him in the finals in the Make It Meta tournament.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. I don't know what he was playing in that, but I wasn't really
Uh,
following it. But
he played. I know I had Matrix on the team. That was the final piece for that final round. It was Madrix. Everybody played him at low dot. He was playing a scientist, I believe it was. But yeah, the final round in that tournament was four maggots and Lila Cheney. Basically, I just wanted to poison his Madrox to death and secure my his Vulture. That's what he's playing. He's playing a Scientist Vulture team.
Okay.
So, with the Isotope, whatever, to bring out the Prime Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he lost map. I put him on Ultron Slayer. When I moved up, and next turn I was going to do what maggots do, and he had to make a decision on whether or not to equip Vulture or come after me and see what Vulture can do. And he decided to equip Vulture instead of trying to see if he could wipe out my team or not with one attack.
Yeah. So, awesome. So, I wanted to move on to the next question, which was, this is something because I know you guys both were winners at the Scott Porter Invitational.
Well, I came in second place.
Yeah, but you're still one of the finalists. Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you received like a pretty hefty prize package, right? Or what kind of prizes did you win at the tournament?
I get to make my own switch. I get to design a figure in my likeness.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. Okay. And then and Emily, what did you?
Mine was the big part of it is the House of X factory set is the big part, and also a super pre-release Deadpool play-at-home kit, one of the maps, the Pogs, a couple of Ellies. Yeah, it was amazing prizing for Fellowship.
Yeah, I mean the prizing at the tournament was pretty amazing, just overall. But Brad, I think if you would have won, I mean, if you played against Matthew Ventura won.
Yeah.
Kudos to him for winning the modern tournament. He's an awesome player as well. And I've had him on the show before. Brad, what did he win? What did he win? Did he get to design his own Pog or?
Yeah. So first place gets to choose between designing a Pog or becoming a SwitchClix figure.
Okay.
And second place gets the other one. So he chose to design a Pog.
So let me just ask you guys, what would you guys do if you were able to design your own Pog? Like, what would you design it as?
I wanted to design a 10-point leadership Pog.
Okay.
That's it. Zero speed, 0 attack, 0 damage, 13 defense, leadership.
Would it just be called? Would it be you? Would it be Brad? It would be called Brad, or?
I was told they have to be a generic character, but I could just be a retired mayor or something. Yeah. Just some old mayor or some city council guy. It could be just my face on the picture. I didn't care. I just wanted a 10-point leadership.
I'm wondering why couldn't you name it Brad? I mean, that's a generic name, right?
I think I could.
Be anybody, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you don't put like a last name to it, like if you just say Brad, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what the rules are for
that. I think that's the reason why with my figure that I'll be designing is I can't have any distinguishing marks on it. So you can't have an X on there. It can't have a huge S. It can't have spider webbing, I think, on there. Anything that would indicate some kind of whiskets. Just wants to avoid any kind of trademark issues.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you about that. Do you have like
they haven't talked to me yet, so right now I can talk about anything.
Okay, well, what do you think you might do for the SwitchClix?
So I have 3 ideas. My first idea is me crouched down, petting a cat with my beanie.
Okay.
That's a trademark look. It's a beanie. And the second one is I have an old profile picture where I used to have my niece sitting on my shoulders while I was playing HeroClix. I was at a comic shop and she was just on my shoulders while I was playing HeroClix. So it'd be like at a table. And the third one is me sitting on a toilet reading the pack.
Okay. And what would you SwitchClix that to? Like what figure? or do you
I'm
want
told
to?
I can switch cooks to any figure, and it will always be forever modern legal. The figure.
But which one do you think is like the best one to switch to? Like,
Well, I only looked at a couple for meta purposes. Talk to Emily, and I'll see what I can come up with.
okay, so yeah, I actually wanted to ask Emily. Emily, what was your what would you make as a Pog if you were had a chance to make a Pog? I mean, you could also say what would you would do if you were a HeroClix as well.
So for the Pog, I don't know if you saw the finale Married with Clicks episode where they were when they, decided they were stepping back, but Tom made Pogs for all of the Married with Clicks crew, and because I frequently travel with them, they're my, playtest group. They also made Pogs for me and Devin. So I would love to have that Pog made, and it made me laugh so much when he revealed it because he's like, okay, for Emily, no theme, no team affiliation because I don't really care about theme teams. Um, I had a trait that said if no friendly character had made an attack this game, free move. And then I had a special movement power that was Charge Flurry Giant Reach 2 with an 11 attack blades. So because it's just like my play style of bring him in, let him do what he needs to do. So I would love to have that made, but like it's totally overpowered and broken, so they would never do it. But and as for the Switch click, I was talking with Josh Essex the other night, and we were just kind of both deciding, oh, what would we maybe do if we were to get it? And for me, part of my side business is having pretty nails and low maintenance beauty stuff. So he's like, well, you'll have to have your nails out for sure. So maybe something like with that your nails would be out. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I have made I pick a word of the year every year, and my word this year is change. So I was thinking it would be really, really cool to have butterfly wings, because what changes more than a caterpillar into a butterfly, right? So for me, I think I would want butterfly wings to kind of signify this year of change. So I thought that would be really cool.
That's great, and it's a wonderful word to pick for sure.
Yeah,
I
like
love
something
that.
like, being up on a swoosh, so it's like I'm like almost flying like, and yeah, I thought that would be really neat.
Cool. And then and also what would you pick for a legacy card? Because I know that was up there in the pricing as well. Like, Emily, what do you think would be your legacy card that you would choose to bring back?
So this was a figure that I loved. It was like near like when I first started playing ish, and so it's something with an old card back, and it's from the Uncanny X-Men, and I think I was the only one who absolutely loved the Chase Sunfire with the fire marker on it, where um, midway through the dial, yeah, I love Chase Sunfire. I don't know what it was.
This one right here.
Yeah, yeah. So like as I like that mid dial whole pulse wave everybody, and then you heal up for however many people you hit. I just loved it, and I tried to make it into something, and I think I got a top 4 in it in one of the WKOs we traveled to Ottawa, so that was fun when we went on a road trip, and I topped 4 with that one against Jason, I think, but um but he beat me out in top 4 and made it to the top table. But I loved that piece, and I would love to play it again.
And
Okay,
yeah, Brad,
sorry.
your legacy card. What would you bring back for a legacy card?
There were three choices. One was Unimind.
Well, would you nerf
I
it?
played the hell out of it. What's that?
Would you bring it back and then like nerf it so that it's not a
Oh
player
no,
anymore?
no, I'd give him Mastermind. Is what I would do.
Give him mastermind, make him like 100 points instead. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I give him Mastermind. He's so good, and he just doesn't have Mastermind, and that just make him just piss people off even more. Another one is Gizmo from Teen Titans. I just love that piece.
Oh, you did mention
Uh,
that. Okay.
yeah,
I gotta bring that one up. Let me see.
Yeah, Gizmo. He can remove an object and If it's standard, all characters within 4 squares can use a standard power. And if it's a heavy, all friendly characters within 4 squares can use a standard damage power. And so, yeah, it's just the utility of being able to choose between enhancement and power, poison, prob. Uh, I've done leadership before, back when it was free action at the beginning of the turn. And I rolled like 27 leadership rolls. And it's a fun piece to play.
How many
And
points would you make Gizmo today if it came out today?
with this dial right here, probably 50 points. Uh, yeah, 50 points. Uh, yeah, with that power and just the exact same, making everything the same with the free object. I probably would also give him sidestep because his lack of ability. Um, but yeah, sidestep, and it's got the calculated team ability, so you can copy the Green Lantern team ability and just carry everybody, and then give everybody prob. So that would just be awesome. The other one is overdrive. Bring back overdrive.
Okay. That's because that was like the best taxi ever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love taxis. I love getting around the map. I love carrying guys. Uh,
What advice do you guys both have for like new players? I mean, I know you both have like you both have like with your instructional videos on Roll20 and things like that. Um, just for new players starting out, maybe not necessarily online, but in general, what advice would you give them as far as learning how to play? Do you think that everybody needs a taxi on their team? Do you think everybody needs leadership on their team, like as far as building teams? I mean, I'm personally with my play group that I have on that like our weekly play group. We have a few new players and that I've been teaching how to play, and I know they one of the things that they struggle with is team building to start with. You know what I mean?
mhm.
What do you guys think? What do you think about that?
Emily?
I don't know. I'm not. You know what? I never consider myself the greatest team builder. I have a good team of guys around me who help me a whole ton. I usually pick a couple pieces that I like to play together, and then they help me tweak it. But I always make sure that I've got something that is my style and what I'm trying to accomplish in the game, whether it's something fun or something that's gonna smack the heck out of you. Um, but like having those support powers is massive. Like leadership and the prob, the perplex, the outwit, having those kinds of things, and then deciding what you want around that. Like for me, I love building with shape change. I love rollouts. I like, I have to say shape change is probably my favorite power, like overall, definitely. So like I like to look for pieces that I just enjoy playing. Like if they're new, chances are they're not looking to get into something competitive. So, if they've got something that they like, then they're gonna enjoy the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because you need to enjoy what you're playing. Don't worry about like building optimally. Min maxing everything, especially when you're just starting out, because you're not gonna get it 100% right anyway. So just have fun with it. I think that's a good point.
That's kind of what she said. It's when it comes to playing any game that is competitive, you need to recognize, you need to try to be aware of yourself and the people that you're playing with. Uh, that is to say, if your local group is only casual players and you only want to play competitive, you need to recognize that, or else they're not going to have fun playing with you. And if you're a casual player and only playing with competitive players, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun either. Casual and competitive usually don't mix very well. And once you get that part down, and when it comes to that aspect of HeroClix, it's about compromise. Uh, casual players are probably going to have to play competitive teams sometimes. And if you want to play HeroClix in a local community, you probably, as a competitive player, probably going to have to play casual teams, or else people are not going to want to play with you. And when it comes to team building, uh, it's don't. It's more some don'ts than there's do's. Usually, you can figure out what to do right. It's hard figuring out what you're doing wrong. And one of the things that some people will find themselves trapped in is doing things a certain way. I always have to have a taxi. I always have to have leadership. I always have to have this power or this type of player or this type of. If you do that, then you could be missing out on a lot of other strategies. When it comes to competitive play, I try to be very flexible, and I might play the same style, which is Alpha Strike or tempo teams where I'm always attacking every turn. But it's I also try to play defensive teams. I also try to play tempo teams or one-man armies because it helps expand my horizons. So if you're willing to try other ways of playing HeroClix, it will help you learn all aspects of the game. So when you play against it, you know how to beat it. I mean, you're not surprised.
Yeah, I went out of my comfort zone this past weekend on the modern one, and I actually didn't go Alpha Strike, and I went tent pole because I actually played 200 Omega robots.
Oh, okay.
So,
cool.
She's
yeah, which is totally unlike me.
Did you equip Omega with anything, or?
I did. I gave her the Carnage symbiote because I know she starts with shape change, but she doesn't have it full dial, and I wanted her to have a way to potentially heal if she KO'd stuff to get extra of her little tokens on her. So I chose Carnage symbiote for her.
And what was the rest of your team?
I had the Danger Room Magneto, so another thing that was a little bit difficult to kill. And then I had the Exo specs on him, but like I didn't get the specs most games because most people stole them. Mm-hmm. And I had the 10-point Brainiac, 10-point Robot Superman, and a WWE ring. So
okay, nice.
Yeah, it was. I had fun with it, and I came close to beating my, round 5 opponent and making the cut, but with the last 2 minutes to spare, he was able to take out Omega because I was up on points before then. But
yeah, Omega's an awesome piece. I like her a lot.
Yeah, and everybody was surprised to see her. So yeah, everybody was like, okay, first of all, either what is this figure, or I was not expecting to see this today. How do I get through this? Yeah, it was a fun weekend.
Okay, so let me ask you guys. Brad, I just wanted to ask you one thing about Krakoan Revival. Do you think it's meta, Krakoan Revival, or do you think it will be? Do you think it will be with the X-Men Rise and Fall? Emily, you can answer this too if you want. Like, what do you guys think about Krakoan Revival? I know Brad's team uses it. So.
It's a dangerous mechanic, I'll say this much. You have to be willing to give up points, and you have to be okay with that. And sometimes you just have to be willing to just lose guys just because of certain matchups. If Sky Tyrant is going 14 for 3 with Flurry, you just have to accept that a character is probably going to die. But sometimes, it's fun, and there are ways to mitigate those tokens with the right map and certain positioning. You can really screw up what people want to do when they expect to get those tokens in a certain way. I will say that the people that were familiar with Krakoan Revival were usually disappointed when I didn't bring out a character. Like they were banking on the fact that I would bring out I would use Krakoa Revival. And like, damn it, I needed you to bring out a pod. I'm like, I know, I'm not going to give it to you. It's, I know what's about to happen next, so no, you don't get to have it.
Emily, do you think Krakoa Revival is meta?
I think it could be. I mean, Brad made it to second with it 2 days in a row, so it's got to be somewhere there. It's not personally my style, but I also haven't really used it much personally.
It's
So
dangerous.
Also, Emily, I wanted to ask you: are you currently building anything, or thinking about building around any pieces right now?
no, my just this. I've had Omega in my head lately, so that's who I've been wanting to build with, and I liked it, and I want to try it again. So Brad, maybe I'll bring it to one of your Cash Bash tournaments and
Actually, does Omega have
try it out.
Does Omega have the Sentinel keyword?
uh,
Yes.
Master Mold. There you go.
uh, I don't think you want to play Master Mold. Yeah, I think it's best on 200-point dial. They just don't work out too well.
I was gonna say, do you like Master Mold on his 25-point line, or
On a robot team, yes, but not particularly Emily's robot team.
Yeah,
Uh,
not with my team, I don't think.
yeah, her team is a point denial team, pretty much, right?
Yep.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I need to kill 85 points and keep Omega alive is what it comes down to.
yeah, and yeah, with Master Mold, he at 75 points, he just dies too easily.
Yeah.
Uh, and at 25 points, he's not really helping out leadership with Magneto and Omega. You only need 2 actions. I'm sure you rarely ever did 3 attacks with Superman, Magneto, and so leadership doesn't really help out too much. But I mean, it could help out with the retail. I mean, but I think she's the only one that you'd be retailing with. Is that right? Omega.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have the Sentinel and Robot keyword to be able to use his special retail piece. And he also has to be alive. I don't think he has Mastermind on that dial, does he?
I'm not
Uh,
sure.
but yeah, his retail only works if Master Mold himself was attack damage. And on the 25-point dial, you can just kill him and you don't get that special retail. But I think the robot team that Tlish Bees and PJ Bone have run would be really good, just because of the base alone will help extend that starting area just by one more. It's a 3x6, and the more reach you can get, the better. That map would be really good. I don't know how it works with new rules, but before you could stop. What's that sculpt called? That was 3x6 with the alien ship.
The skull ship?
Yeah, the
Skull ship. Yeah, someone had run Skull ship because they just won it, and then they had lost to Macro, and they just had to forfeit their team because there was no legal space for you to place it. I haven't looked to see how that works with new rules yet, but you could potentially score 25 points easily by putting them on the negative zone because there's nowhere for Master Mold to go to, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he
That's
won't fit on the map. Yeah, well,
yeah,
he's a two. I think he's a 2x4.
Is he by 4? Oh, I thought he was 3x6. Okay.
I think he's 2x4.
Okay, then yeah, then he would fit on negative zone.
Yeah.
But it looked like a 3x6 base, but yeah, 2x4 still.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Still helps expand the starting area. It looks like a great sculpt too.
So all right, last question, guys. I wanted to ask you both, if, and we'll start with Brad this time. If you were writing your own HeroClix bio, and I've asked this question before to my other guests on the show. I always think this is like a good introspective question. If you were like a fly on a wall and you were looking at yourself, right, or something like that, right, and you had to write your own HeroClix bio, what would you say about yourself as a HeroClix player? How would you describe you as a HeroClix player?
I I'm super anxious, and the better I do in the tournament, the more anxious I get because I'm playing. If you do well, you have to play against really good players, and as I keep getting more and more matched up with these top notch players, these best players, uh, they have usually the same amount of luck as you do. They're just better prepared when it comes to practice. So that's what helped with my success this past weekend, as I practice a lot. So I could tell that my teammates uh, they helped coach and cheer me this past weekend, saying, "Hey, you put in the work, you did the practice, you did a good job. You know what's out there. So just remember, you did the practice." That's something I do. I put in the time and effort, uh, um, studying what people play and how they play, and that's something I would also tell new players is uh, that if you put into practice, uh, you can beat PJ Bull, you can beat Dan Powell, you can beat Emily, you can beat Patrick Frazier, and Lucas Van Hollen. These guys that they got to nationals and worlds and got first place, they put on the practice. And uh, Dan Powell, he's one of the best players in the game, and he went 1-4 on Sunday, I think. Uh, and he just had bad luck. And, I went uh, uh, I went 3-2 in the Swiss, and I told myself that it was just luck. That I didn't get the hits that I needed for those two losses, and they had nothing to do with how I was as a player. I did the best I can, and that's all you can really do.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you don't think? Do you? I mean, how much of the game do you think is luck, Brad? If you had to
Uh,
put it percentage wise.
it's all of it's luck, I think. The Super Sense rolls, the Impervious rolls, the dice rolls, the map roll. Uh, I the team that I built specifically was to say, screw luck, I'll just poison you. uh, and even if I lost map, I can still get across the map. So yeah, good luck or bad luck, I built my team specifically to work in best case and worst case scenarios.
Okay. Emily, so now this question goes to you. If you were a fly on the wall describing yourself as a HeroClix player, writing your own HeroClix bio, just introspectively, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Well, I'm going to echo Brad's part on practice because we definitely do a whole bunch of that, and I feel that the better I know my team and I can pilot my own team on autopilot with having all of that practice, the better I can focus on what my opponent's team does and not have to think about what my stuff is doing. But more than that, I think that I am just so lighthearted and friendly, and you will always find me laughing in my games. It doesn't matter what's happening, if I'm winning, if I'm losing, I'm gonna laugh at dice rolls, and I am just literally having a good time, and I keep that same attitude right through to the top table, when I've made it there, and I'm just really friendly with my opponents, and I like that keeping it a game first, and having fun with it. And even if the outcome isn't winning, I mean, if you have, 40 people show up at an event, only one person's going to be a winner. So if your happiness is coming from winning, then you're going to be sad a lot of the time. So, it really comes down to being a game and just having fun with it. And I would say that that's who I am. I'm, keeping it lighthearted and just having a good time with my opponent.
Yeah,
What Emily's, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say to what Emily said, that's something that I try to live by and encourage in my tournaments is to be kind and understanding. because it is just a game. I make mistakes. You make mistakes, and uh, it doesn't matter to me on what level of play it is. If you made a mistake and I can catch on in time, I'll try to help you fix it. I played against Lucas Van Hollen on Saturday, and he set up his turn to kill my Dark Phoenixes with a commissioner and the rookie. And as he set up his TK, set up his positioning, and counted off the squares, I finally figured out what he was trying to do. And then I was like, you can't do, you shouldn't do that. And it's like, I'm going to. I was like, but you can't. I have a shard out on
Shard,
the
yeah.
battlefield. Yeah. It's like, oh my God. And the sadness and the disappointment is like, well, I pretty much screwed up. And I was like,
Yeah, but you let him take it back, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd take it back. I was like, no, you didn't roll any attacks. So just fix, do something else instead if you want. Unless you want to stay right there, do
Yeah.
something else. And so he tried to compromise and just let the TK stick and with commissioning. And then it's like, no, that's just bad. And then he put commissioner back and said, "I still take the power action." It's like, no, that's bad. And then he went back to the starting area. It's like, yeah, I think I'll just stay here in my starting area. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I know a lot of players feel like that if it's a competitive game, that you have to be held accountable because it's a competition. And if you screw up, then that's your fault, and just live with it. Get good. To me, that I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but that does not make you a good player when it comes to uh, winning on your opponent's mistakes. You can still be a good player, but that uh, it doesn't. To me, that does not make a good match, and that's like Emily said. There's only going to be one winner. So for me, it's all about the match and having a good match. Whether I win or lose, I would just like to have a good game and no feel bads. Unless it's dice rolls, then you can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hard on myself with stuff like for me, I want to be a better player by not making mistakes. So a lot of times I will, stick with what my decisions were, and then I learn from it because I did something crappy. And that's another reason why I write my blog post tournament reports, is because then I'm reflecting back on what happened. And actually, one of the games from the silver tournament, I realized that that he was playing the flashes, those the new 2 point the new 2-click flashes against me, and I realized after, when I was writing my tournament report, that those flashes should have been dead because I had my lightning marker on Thor, which has mystics, and if he had the octopus arms, and he flurried me, and I was like, well, that's 2 clicks. That flash should have been dead, but I totally, over my head at the time. But I'm able to think back on that with my tournament report and as I'm writing it out, and I call myself out on it in the blog. If you've ever read one of my tournament reports on my site, that I call myself out on it and say, hey, I missed this. It's something to think about for next time. So
Yeah, no, that's good. And I'm actually surprised about what you said about Lucas, because he doesn't make that many mistakes, Brett.
No,
He's a very good player.
I feel like the reason he made that mistake is because we were playing in person, and my shard was hiding behind the Dark Phoenix, so
Oh,
he couldn't.
okay.
Uh, he would have clearly seen that on Roll20 maps, but in person, she's just that little bitty figure hiding behind that huge Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, it's the old hide behind the Dark Phoenix trick. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good one.
it's like,
Yeah.
I was like, maybe he's doing something else. And then he TK, then he made the rookie is like, well, maybe he's gonna try to perplex him up and do something. It was like, and then he moved him. It's like Dark Phoenix is like, no, dude, no.
Yeah. But I mean, Emily, I agree with you. I mean, this is probably the reason why you won the fellowship award for for the Scott Porter tournament, because you know, your sentiments about HeroClix being just a game, and that you should have fun with it. I mean, I think that's wonderful. I think that's definitely a good sentiment, and I agree with it. I think that HeroClix is all about having fun. I really love this community. I love the HeroClix community, and one thing I like to do, even when I'm playing online, is just make friends with different people that I play against. You know, I always ask, you know, hey, where are you from, and what's going on, and you know, try to commiserate with people that you're playing with, because that's part of the game. You know, it's what makes it a fun game. So, awesome, guys. Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Brad, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
It's been a
Thank you
great
for having me.
HeroClix conversation as always. On Coffee and Clicks. You've been watching Coffee and Clicks, everybody, and don't forget, everybody, wake up and smell the clicks.